In this video, we are going to try and understand the mechanism or the methods which have been adopted for the asexual reproduction. So first method which we are going to study is fission. Fission means division. That means it is dividing into two or more. And this happens actually when the cell attains maturity. Only then it is ready to undergo the process of fission. And this type of reproduction is seen in many kinds of bacteria and protozoans. Now this fission is of two types, that is the binary fission and the multiple fission. In the binary fission, we have two types, as I said. This binary is only two, like one organism will divide into two and will form two daughter cells. The other type is the multiple fission. In the multiple fission, an organisms multiply several times and it results into large number of offspring. So multiple fission, over here the division of the mature cell is multiple times. Now what are the steps which are there during this process of fission? The first and foremost step is the nucleus elongates and divides into two. So what is happening? We are taking example as an amoeba. In the case of amoeba, the body is irregular. These are the pseudopodia and this is the nucleus. Now, when the cell becomes mature, it has to divide. These are the pseudopodia. The cell has to divide. So after maturation, the cell body will remain as such, whereas the nucleus will tend to elongate. So the first step is elongation of the nucleus. The elongation of the nucleus, and it then starts separating. That means dividing into two. So the nucleus will start dividing into two, and a constriction appears over here. The constriction is gradual, and constriction means the narrowing, dividing. This is over here, it is normal over here. Now it is the constriction. So the second is nucleus starts dividing, and constriction appears. The constriction actually helps in dividing the cell membrane and the cytoplasm into two. So what will happen due to the constriction? This will divide as two organisms. Third, constriction deepens, dividing cell organelles, so we say cytoplasm, into two. And these are the two daughter cells or the new offspring. So as you can see over here, the process of fission has taken place, where in the case we have taken example as an amoeba over here, and as you can see it is a three-step process. Starts with the division of the nucleus, It is division then followed by the division of the cytoplasm. In the case of multiple fission, there are that one parent organism divides into many new organisms, and it normally happens during the unfavorable condition in which the organism will continue to divide. Example is Plasmodium vivax. So what happens is the organism continues to divide during the unfavorable condition and a tough coat is produced. So in that, over here, if we talk of multiple fission, the organism will continue to divide and it will develop a tough coat. This tough coat protect against the unfavorable conditions, and there are lot of cells which are formed inside, and when the these are the daughter cells, and when the favorable condition appear, then this tough coat breaks, releasing all the organisms. So these are the daughter cells over here in the case of multiple fission. So you can see the difference between the multiple fission and the binary fission. We have certain examples of it. Now another type of the reproduction which we study is the fragmentation. The second type of asexual reproduction which is commonly observed is fragmentation. Fragmentation is breaking up of the mature organism into fragments or parts. That is why the name fragmentation is there. So in the fragmentation, the main body of the organism will divide into 2 or 3 portions or fragments, and each of the fragment will then develop into new individual. So example over here we take as example is Spirogyra. Now what happens is, this is the structure or the filamentous body of the Spirogyra, and it is having, this is the filamentous body which we see in the case of Spirogyra. So on maturation, this will break up into 2 portions. So you can see over here what has happened. One mature organism, that is the Spirogyra, its body is divided like this, and on breaking up into 2 parts, these are the parts, that is the fragments. We say over here mature Spirogyra, and these are the fragments. And these are the newly formed individuals of Spirogyra. It happens, or fragmentation is a process which takes place in multicellular organisms which have simple body design, not much complicated, and it is not taking place in all the multicellular organisms. The reason being, if the multicellular organisms are complex body design, then it will be difficult for the organism to pass on all the components of it to the new individual. So therefore, this fragmentation is normally found in organisms which are multicellular but have simple basic body design. Third type which we are going to study today is the regeneration. The regeneration is not that type of reproduction, but it is considered to be one way of reproduction. In the case of regeneration, when we are talking, regeneration is a process in which the fully developed organism has the capacity to form new individual from its body parts. Now, that is, if in the case of starfish, if we take the starfish and cut it into 2 or 3 pieces, each piece will then develop as an individual. So planaria and hydra are good examples of regeneration. In the case of planaria, if we see, if we learn the diagram of the planaria, simple basic body design, and we cut it into 2 or 3 portions. Suppose this is the middle portion, this is the upper portion, and this is the lower portion. Then each of the part will develop as a new individual. A big question is, how does this happen? In the case of lizard also, you must have seen the tail regrows. Now the big question is, how does this happen? This is because of the special type of cells which are present in few of organism, and these cells multiply rapidly, that is proliferate, and then undergo changes to meet up different kinds of functions, and therefore they have the capacity of these to produce various type of cells to perform various functions, and tissues are formed, and as a result the completely new organisms are formed. So from one planaria, if we cut it into 3 parts, we'll have 3 more individuals. Similarly, the starfish. So we have various examples, but this is not considered to be the major method of reproduction, because it is only when the organisms are being cut or are damaged due to certain reasons, then only the parts will develop. Otherwise, like for example, we have taken hydra budding. Regeneration is a secondary method of reproduction in the case of hydra.